What is up, guys? This is the Too Legit podcast. On this week's episode, we sat down with Bobby Sullivan of the Finest Finish Company, and we pretty much talked about his business lifestyle, how it grew. Hi, kitty. And we go deep, very deep down the rabbit hole sometimes with conspiracy theories, AI, and yeah, Bobby, it was honestly a pleasure having you here. We're outside in the woods because, you know, we're men. And, and Alex actually just came back from Nashville.
Howdy, y'all.
And I'm going to take this hat because it actually looks better on me. So you do not want to miss this episode. Bobby, thank you so much for being on this episode. Please take me seriously with this fucking hat on.
I love the hat, dude. I got one inside. I should have worn mine.
Part 2, all of us are going to have cowboy
Part 2, cowboy hats.
Cowboy hats all around.
Cowboy hats and pizza for part 2. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, hey, thanks for being on. You do not want to miss this episode, and we'll see you guys this time. Backtrack. What is up, guys? On this week's episode, we got... Do you go by Robert or Bobby? Which one do you like better?
You can call me Bobby.
All right. We go by Bobby Sullivan, the owner and the operator of the Finest Finish. Are you guys out of Plymouth?
We're out of Hingham.
Hingham. Okay,
Yep,
so you do a lot of work up there. So
we do most of our work up in Hingham.
Up in Boston and everything like that?
Well, no, we go up to... We like to stay around like Hingham, Cohasset,
Oh, okay.
Hull,
So,
Norwell, like that South Shore area over by the water.
Gotcha. Nice.
And we do some other work outside of there, but most of it's in Hingham.
So, did you originally start in like construction, or was there like a trade that like, or a job that you had like first, and then
I ended up in like a really weird pathway to get to where I was.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time from about 16 to about 25 in the music industry. I was a rapper. I did television show. I had songs on the radio. I traveled the country.
What was the stage name?
Sully.
Sully?
Yep.
Oh, that's a dope name.
Thanks,
like
man.
the pilot.
Yeah,
Like Sully the pilot.
It was before the pilot, but he did wonderful things for the name, you know? And so after that, I kind of didn't know like what else I was, to be honest. I was trying to figure out like where's my path, and I had like weird jobs, like waited tables, just like did stuff trying to figure out where I wanted to be. And my family always painted, so I started painting then, and it just kind of evolved into what I did, but it wasn't necessarily like what I wanted to be doing, I guess you could say. And I took a break from painting and did some independent contractor work in the cannabis industry, helping with grows and other stuff, you know. And then I ended up coming back to painting again as a business owner, and really trying to take a different outlook on it from how like my father, my uncles, everybody did.
I want to dip into that real quick because on our last episode, with Andrew, yeah, he worked in the cannabis industry, and I feel like the cannabis industry is so popular nowadays.
It is.
But what was that like? Like, you know, like, because some people say it's like kind of difficult to like get the job into, and then other people say like, you know, oh, it's just a cakewalk. You know, it's just really easy to do. You know.
I think it's a really funny industry because I feel like there's a couple of like levels to it, right? You have your like very surface level jobs, very surface level part of the industry where it's, you know, your entry level stuff. But when it was before and then during COVID was like crazy, right? And it had probably one of the highest demands we've ever seen. So there was huge opportunities left and right. As long as you found a way to hustle, you could figure out something, you know. And I was lucky enough that a couple of really good friends of mine from the Honeycomb Farm up in Maine, they put me on to some really cool stuff, and they showed me the way, and they were like my North Star in the cannabis industry, you know. And they're great people, and they love to show what they know, and they love to share knowledge with people. And we just happen to be friends. We just happen to kind of just be like, hey, I like you too. Let's hang out. And then
see how he did it.
Yeah, I think that was really it. That's how we met. And they taught me how to grow. They taught me how to, you know, just market myself and get myself out there. So I was able to do private. I would help people privately.
Okay.
For a fee.
Gotcha.
It was pretty cool.
So with all that,
my favorite.
So almost like a consulting sort of.
It was like a consultant position, but it wasn't, like I was saying, there's kind of like different levels to it. So there was like the medicinal level where it's more personal, right? Where the growers are more personal and they understand, they know their consumers more directly, the grower, and then maybe there's like a salesman and then there's the consumer. Like it's really a very short line to get from the grower to the consumer, where I feel like with like rec cannabis and like corporate cannabis, you're getting a very different vibe, a very different feel. You're getting the corporate feel, corporate America, but like with the most pure thing there could possibly be.
It's not the same, right?
It's not the same.
Not even close.
They have limitations on like the levels of THC, and they have limitations on what you're actually able to do and what you're able to consume, which, if you're using it for cancer treatments or whatever you're using it for, like that might not work for you.
Yeah.
You might need a higher dosage because, you got chronic back pains, and I don't know if you guys ever had back pain or neck pain or anything like that.
I have it constantly.
Yeah, so yeah, and it's one of those.
I'm a plumber.
Hey, there you go. So yeah, you're dealing with it constantly, and like that's where you're going to get the help, is the higher dosage.
100%. Yeah. So,
in my opinion, I'm not a doctor.
So backtracking to what you said about the whole marketing thing. Actually, I'll say this real quick. So you finished your stint with the cannabis industry.
Yep.
And then you went back into
Painting.
Yep. Now, did that open the door for what you have now with the finest finish? Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of walk me through like how that all came about on the second run.
Okay. So the second time around, I kind of looked at everything and said, I feel like there's a market to be attacked that isn't necessarily straight painting. I feel like it became a saturated market after COVID. Everybody was getting the loans, the free government loans, and they were able to really build a business with free funding, right? So it became kind of a saturated market. And if we're all offering the exact same thing, then what are we really all offering, right? We're all offering different price sets and different quality, but we're offering the same thing. So I felt like that was just a bulky market, right? And especially where you have more and more people that are moving to America, and they have the same skills, right? A lot of migrants that are moving here have painting skills, they have carpentry skills, they can put up a roof, they can do all the things that we can do, and they do it fast and they do it cheap. So it's a market that's really it's aggressive right now.
It's definitely competitive.
It's super competitive, right? So I started thinking to myself, what can we do to differentiate ourselves from other painting companies? And we had the capabilities of doing further work. So we could do some light carpentry stuff. We can hang blue board, we can mud, we do our own plastering. So we can come in, and if we have a framed out room and the electrical and the plumbing are run, we can get the rest looking where it needs to be. So we started offering solutions in one place for contractors and homeowners that have multiple layers of home improvement to do. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
that's right.
Makes sense. So you're pretty much like the guy that comes in for like one of the 2 or 3 final stages of a home project.
Yeah, when it's once the guts are good to go and you have everything ready. You're, like I said, your plumbing and your electrical are run. Everything's good. Everything's set.
Because I do everything like I do the guts. I'm the gut maker.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds. But
that's a good nickname, man. If they're not calling you that in the streets.
No, they definitely don't.
They do now.
I got that nickname in Miami.
Yeah. But pretty much like watching you guys like because it's different commercial than residential.
Yeah, very much so.
I feel like it's so much more fast paced. But in I'll say this, in commercial, there's not really like a lot of rules, or like, you're not walking on thin ice because it can always get replaced or fixed. But in a homeowner's house, this is why I don't do residential plumbing, and I'll say it on camera. I will never do residential plumbing. The only time I'll do it if it's a favor, and that's it. Like if I'll go to a house, do a side job, that's the only time. I will never do residential plumbing, only because like from the minute you step through that door, you're like walking on eggshells.
Oh, absolutely.
So kind of, so you handling that like stress of like, making sure first of all, your work it speaks for itself. It looks good, but then at the same time, you got to make sure the client's happy, and then at the same time, also you got to make sure you don't have mud inside their floors.
Oh, 100%.
And then so kind of like walk me through like the whole like the stress and anxiety of like like holy shit, like I gotta make sure all these bases are covered before I can actually do my job that I'm supposed to come here for.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely preferential to have the empty office or the
100%.
empty home or whatever it's going to be, where you can come in, an empty apartment that's about to be rented.
Yep.
You can come in, drop everything out, and just go.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. And that's where the stress comes from. We got to be fast, right? Because it's a more fast-paced job. Whereas when you're going into somebody's home, depending, especially where we work in like Hingham, we work in Cohasset. We've done jobs on Jerusalem Road, which is one of like the nicest roads I've ever been on. And we do some really nice homes, and they have stuff that not everybody on the job can afford.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful with everything. And it's a lot of taking pictures, a lot of making sure we know where everything goes, being very, very gentle with everything, dropping everything off, protecting rugs, protecting blankets, like everything. We just go through everything and make sure it's all plastic or it's all paper, and then we have our drop cloths, and like every single thing we can possibly move out of the room is moved. One of my favorite stories is one time we were taking down paintings in the hallway, and the homeowner was like, "Yeah, you can just take them down and put them on the bed in the bedroom." And we were like, "Okay." And so we took one down, and one of the guys took it down and looked at it. It was a Picasso. He put it back up and was like, "I'm not touching that."
Wait, was it like a legit Picasso?
It was a legit Picasso on the wall. And we were like, I'm not touching that. Get this thing away from me.
I don't blame the guy. Fuck.
Right? Yes, it's
That's
crazy,
like a piece
right?
of history.
It's a piece of history, and you're
Yeah.
holding on to a Picasso, and you're like, all right, I don't want to move this or touch this or be told that I did something. So we literally would go get the homeowners, and we'll say, hey, we need you to move this.
Is it easier that way to have the homeowners move it?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always
feel
recommend
like-
that
yeah.
because if you're going to, if you're going to be touching stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not
it's priceless stuff that
I'm
can.
not touching that.
Yeah,
I'm not touching that. I got insurance, but I don't know if I have Picasso insurance.
yeah, definitely not Picasso insurance guy. Oh man, that's like a crazy thing too because I've never been in a house like that. Like before I diploma, I did like pretty much like what you do, like renovation, finished carpentry, and all that stuff. And like the boss that I had was like super like anal about that, like making sure everything's covered, making sure you don't break anything.
That's a man that had to pay for some stuff before.
Definitely 100% had to. He definitely had some stories where like, oh man, someone broke my chandelier, blah blah blah. Because it was like if I made a little ding in the wall, you like moving, especially if you're fast paced, you know.
You're trying to keep that pace to be profitable, right?
Yeah.
There's that squeeze, like we were talking about. It's actually really a competitive market, so you have to be very efficient with your time. So when you're trying to move fast, sometimes you ding up a wall, and now that's a whole wall. Sometimes you have to redo,
especially like
right?
It's like a patch.
Because if you ding it up enough, you have to patch it. Now you have to patch it, then you have to prime it.
Then
you got to paint the wall because the wall's got to look good, right? It's got to make sure it looks flush. You got to make sure the sheen is nice and clean, and you don't have, you don't want holidays. You want nonsense. You don't want flashing, right? So now we're doing this whole wall, all for a little
ding.
Little ding.
That's honestly one of
some
my
people,
like, crazy
and
things.
we're all friends here. It's just the three of us, right?
Definitely nobody behind the screen.
It's just the three of us, no big deal. But some people are assholes.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
Some people don't care. Some people say, you made a ding in my wall, do 3 days of work.
They don't give a fuck.
Do it. I don't care.
Yeah.
It wasn't here before you got here. It's here now. So you're dealing with a variety of people, especially when you're in their home, right? Because people change when you come into their house.
Like they're nice at first.
Well, yeah, like out in the world or in the office, it's not their money. It's not their, they're not going to bed looking at it. But once you go into their house, it's a whole different story. And I don't blame them. It's coming to my house, it's different too. I mean, I'm not like a maniac, but right. But some people are. Some people are just like super anal about their house. They're super anal about their
if you have a
stuff.
Picasso painting hanging up on the wall, I'd be
right,
super
dude?
anal
Some of
about
these
my
people
house,
got
too.
some cool stuff.
What's been the coolest thing that you saw inside the house?
Picasso
definitely
painting.
all right. Do you have a runner-up or not? Like a statue or something? Statue of David, maybe?
That would be sick. No, one of the houses we worked on, this is when I first started painting, and I was working with my dad at the time, and we were in this like beautiful house on Jerusalem Road, and he pulled me aside and he goes, all right, everybody has their day, what they're doing. And he looked at me and he goes, all right, come here, I want to show you something. And he walks me into this living room and he goes, you see this carpet? And I go, yeah. And he goes, nobody here can afford it. Your job is to cut this baseboard twice. Don't get anything on this carpet. I don't care how long it takes. It was just like some like ridiculous
like Persian
raw. Yeah, like whatever. I have no idea what. I looked at it and I was like, we can't afford this. And he was like, no, none of us can afford this. And I was like, all right, man. And I literally just spent the day, because it was a huge room, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just cutting baseboards. That was how I learned how to get like fresh with my cuts.
Yeah.
You know, because I was like, I can't touch
make sure
this. I got to get everything, but
You developed the finest finish, if you
I
will.
did. We did. Yeah, I like that. I like that. We did. That's where we developed it for sure.
That's a clip. Also, shout out to your buddy at Three Sips. This Caribbean connection. This is hitting. This is really good. What's your buddy's name?
Dan.
Dan. Shout out to you, Dan. This is really fucking good.
We'll bring it a little bit closer to the camera.
Dan and Nick.
little spin right there.
Dan and Nick. Yeah, they're opening their brewery, I believe, in Carver.
Carver?
Sorry if I'm wrong. I think it's Carver.
Don't worry, we'll find you. Either way, we'll fucking find you.
They're dope dudes. They're awesome, man. The artwork on their beers are good. Their beers are good.
Everything about it is fucking perfect.
Yeah, they really put a lot of work into it. They're awesome dudes. Awesome dudes.
Oh, man. What was I going to say? Fuck. I lost my train of thought, but I'll actually go into another thing. So, obviously, you know, before we even started this podcast, like you introduced us to your family and everything like that. One of my biggest things, because I'm not a dad, I'm a dog dad, but I'm not really like a dad.
Yep, gotcha.
So how do you like balance that out? Like being a dad, being like, you know, a good husband, good father, and then also like making sure, hey, like I gotta like do my work. Maybe I'm gonna work late nights, maybe I'll work weekends. How do you find that balance?
So the good answer is you work really hard to create that balance, and you make sure that you make the time to come home, and you make sure that you make the time for your kids and your business and your wife and everybody. The real answer is there's no balance whatsoever. You're trying to build a business and you're constantly making sure that your guys are working and that you're working, because it's not just my family. There's other families now.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So my main guy, like my lead guy.
Your lead guy, yep.
Miles. What up,
Shout out to you, Miles.
Shout out to Miles. Miles in his love hat. He wears a hat that says love, and it's like the best vibes.
He sounds like a great guy.
Oh, he's an awesome guy. He's an awesome guy. If we were in Hingham, I was going to bring him with me. But yeah, so he has a family as well. So there's, you know, we're both working together to make sure that our families are okay. So we're both willing to put in those extra hours and that extra time. And there's certain days where he'll laugh and he'll be like, dude, you're such a maniac. Because I saw him one night and he was like, it was right around Christmas or Thanksgiving. Yeah. And everybody was in there. I could see with my eyes, everybody with their families on my like ride to wherever I was going. And I knew I wasn't going to see my family that night, but everybody else was with their families. Yeah. It was like one of those nights, you know what I mean? And I just kept telling myself, and it's the same thing I tell myself when I'm working out in the gym, you know, I do this for the result that I'm going to get. I work at a pace nobody can keep up with. And this is why. It's because I work right now. And this is the sacrifice that I make for my kids, that I make for my family. And that's how I look at it is, in this world, we all have certain advantages and we all have certain things that we're willing to sacrifice to get where we're willing to go, where we're looking to go, right? So I feel like having that ability to sacrifice for a greater goal is an advantage that takes a remarkable amount of heart and like fortitude to get through, because it's hard.
It is hard.
It's really hard because I love my kids.
Yeah.
You know, and they know I love them, and the one thing I try to do is whenever they ask for my attention, I give it to them, and I try to let them understand like I'm also very busy. So when you ask for my attention, I'll give it to you, but let's make sure that we're both focused. So don't ask for my attention and then watch TV. Don't ask for my attention and then ignore me. Yeah. Right? So we kind of learn like a mutual respect for each other's time, I guess, and we've developed it over time. I also try to take my kids with, like my son specifically. I have 2 daughters and I have a son, and I'll take my son with me to work. He's got like a finest finish shirt, and he's part of the squad. he's part of the squad.
Got to start young, you know.
Oh, he demands a high price too.
That's how it is.
Yeah, I don't know who was negotiating for him. I don't know who his union rep was, but. But yeah, so I mean, that's really the answer. The answer is, you know, you do your best when you have those days off. Like anytime I have like a a holiday, like this past 4th of July was in the middle of the week. Perfect. I'll just take the week. Just take the week off because nobody really wants you in their house.
Nah.
Right? They don't want you. Like, get out of here. We're trying to have a cookout. You know,
Trying to
like
have
don't
fun,
don't be.
you know?
Yeah, we're trying to crush beers.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not working. I'm gonna mow the lawn and crush some beers
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
You know, and we just try to take advantage of that. You know, take them and do things. Take them and go play pickleball, go play basketball, go walk on the beach. My 15-year-old was like, "Dad, let's play pickleball," and I was like, "Yeah."
Alex was trying to get me to play pickleball.
Dude, it's pretty fun.
I don't see the hype of it, to be honest with you.
I don't understand the hype of it, but I do understand that it's something to do.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's something that you can go do and have fun together. And I that's really what I'm looking for, right? It doesn't really matter what it is.
No,
if the kids are having fun, I'm having fun.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
That's really it, you know?
It's super important, too, to have, like, a strong foundation of people that, like, want to support you.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
So, like, obviously, you definitely have that with your wife, your kids, and everything like that. And obviously, the guys surrounding you because they believe in your goal.
Yeah.
Into being, like, one of the better, like, Finnish companies in Massachusetts.
They do.
So, like, it's super important for us because we have supporters of this podcast and they want to see us, like, you know, evolve into the next step. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's super important, right? To have people that believe in you gets you that little bit of extra. And it makes you take that ride. And it makes you push that, and it makes you drive all the way to Plymouth. You know what I mean?
Honestly, it wasn't even. I like Plymouth. I do. This is a different part. It's a different part of Plymouth I've been in.
This is the part that nobody's been to.
I've been. Yeah.
We're in the woods.
Yeah, we are in the woods. This is a great podcast location too, by the way. I like being in the woods. I like the outdoors.
Me too.
So, but I've been in the part of Plymouth where it has that big ass ship, pretty much like Plymouth Rock.
Downtown, Plymouth Rock.
Yeah,
How impressed were you by Plymouth Rock? Very impressed. Right?
Yeah, so impressed by a fucking rock.
It's the tiniest. It's like not even the rock.
Yeah.
It's not even the real rock. It's like a commemorative rock.
Right.
The real rock is across the harbor.
Yeah, if I'd known that, I would have never been as disappointed as I was the first time around.
Yeah, I mean, it felt silly that was the rock because I feel like there's a lot of rocks leading up to that rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I like Plymouth. Plymouth's not bad. You know?
Downtown's fun. You guys ever go downtown?
This is honestly my second time being in Plymouth. So.
Oh, downtown Plymouth's so much fun.
Yeah.
Summertime, go down there any Saturday night.
Is it like Nashville?
As long as it's nice out. It's a Plymouth version of Nashville.
Yeah.
We got some good bars. We got some good food.
Oh man, I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, I've been to the wine bars down there. I dated a girl out of, is this Plymouth or Carver?
We're in Plymouth.
Yeah, out of Carver. So we would go down there quite a bit to like the wine bars and stuff
Yeah.
out there. Not super like turn up, but it was good vibes down there.
It was
It's a good time.
It was a rich turn up. You actually said some fighting. You said the word fighting, so you actually know. You actually know our boys, Sean Shubert and Mike White.
Yes,
over
I
at
do.
Red Seal Martial Arts. I bet Sean's probably gonna watch this episode and be
Yep.
like, "Where the fuck is this guy?
Where has this guy been?"
Shout out
Sean's
to
gonna be
Sean.
like, "Where has this guy been?" And I've been working.
Was that something that you got into, like out of the blue, or was that something you really like wanted or needed to do?
I've always loved fighting. It's always been something. I wanted to play hockey when I was 11, and my dad picked me up from school and brought me to a boxing gym and said, "I'm not waking up at 4 a.m, so you get into fights." And I was like, "All right." And that's how I started boxing. So I started boxing when I was young, and then as I got older, I started getting like an interest in UFC, in MMA and whatnot. I did a little bit of jiu-jitsu. I did like a short amount of Muay Thai for maybe a short time, and then fast forward to 2021, probably around then, I started working out at FAF, which is Sean's home gym, where he works out. Mm-hmm. And we became friends, and I ended up it was just a lot closer because they're like cousin gyms.
Yeah.
They're like, we're all friends. We all work out together. We don't fight each other. It's that kind of stuff. And it just ended up being easier for me to get to Red Seal. Excuse me. And Red Seal just was a perfect fit for me. And and FAF was a perfect fit for me too. It was the same idea. It was the same thing. And me and Sean really hit it off. So I started working out with him about 2 years ago at his gym. And then slowly but surely I started fighting. And then he got me a couple fights when I needed them and I wanted them. I'm 39. So I mean, I'm no Mike White, the champion.
Mike.
How many champions? How many championships?
7 champions.
He's got a couple, for sure. Several. I think.
6 or 7, and he's undefeated. So that's quite a resume. Yeah. And he's also going to fight in Thailand.
He's a
animal. He's a fucking beast.
He's a machine and
Terminator.
a great guy.
Honestly, like you would, oh man, I'm trying to think of a UFC fighter that's like an absolute beast, but like off script is like
Maybe like a Wonder Boy.
Wonder
Thomas?
Boy, yeah, he's like Wonder Boy.
Yeah,
but he's
honestly,
like more of a savage than Wonder Boy. Like he's not saying sorry in the middle of fights. He's coming to get you. He's coming to get you in the middle of fights. Yeah. When the fight's over, he might say,
he's
great
like, oh
job.
hey, sorry for kicking your face in.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
No.
Mike White's honestly a great guy. I've worked with him for 3 years now, and then he's been like fighting ever since. I remember his first time winning the belt.
I'm sure.
Dude, and I've never seen him so excited before. He was like...
He works so hard. He really does.
Yeah.
He's like a standard in that gym. Sean sets the pace, and then Mike is another one of those guys that really sets the standard in there. I learned a lot from Sean. Sean's methodology taught me a lot that I actually apply in life with my kids, with my business.
Yeah.
Oh
shit.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great it's great for your mind. I feel like fighting... I mean, other than the obvious of it allows you to get out certain emotions and feelings and whatnot, and it gets you those chemical shots that you need, dopamine and adrenaline and other things like that. But you're also learning how to control your body with your mind and having your mind and your body be in unison and also working at different things simultaneously. One of the things that Sean will teach us is how to breathe while we're in the middle of, action, and how to keep our breath constant, and how we should be able to keep our breath constant in action. And I feel like one of those, something like that you really can apply in life, because there's problems that come up where I'm like, the fuck are we going to do about this? Like, what are we going to do about this? Like, we didn't do this, but we got to fix it now because it looks like we did it. So now we got to figure it out. Right. So if we're forced to figure it out, you're going to get those stress levels. You're going to get those same rushes that you would get maybe before a fight. But the good news is nobody's even trying to hit you.
If you really think about it, yeah.
And that's one of the things that Sean was always saying to me it says to all of us, it's good that you understand how to deal with the stress, and also no one's trying to like knock you unconscious in front of everybody. So it kind of takes the stress and brings it down. It's like, well, at least I'm safe.
Sean's a fucking funny dude. Sean's a crazy bastard too.
He's an animal.
He is an animal. Like I thought Mike was an animal.
Yeah.
Sean's on another level.
He's an animal maker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's an animal maker.
So being how long have you had the Finest Finish for now? How long have you been
The Finest Finish, we've been operating as a company for about a year, but we've both been working together. Miles and I have been working together for probably 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we both worked for my father for a while, and then we both worked separately as well together.
Gotcha. So technically, the company's been around for over a year?
No, the company's been around for a year. That's another conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes companies need to be made on their own instead of being passed along.
So how...
Different ideas. That's a thing, right? Like this is a podcast about that, right? So like that's a thing too, right? Not every father and son look at things the same, right? Like our outlook on things might be completely different. Where my father wanted to focus more on the painting, and I like to focus on more helping problem solve. Those are completely different outlooks. So we're obviously not going to see things the same way, and because of things like that, that's how companies get created.
Yeah.
That we do our own thing.
That's because I work with my brother.
Yep.
And because they always say like never try to like mix business and family. So
they do say that. I wonder why.
I mean, I'm not gonna but me and my brother, my brother doesn't have his own plumbing company. We work for the same company.
Yep.
But there's times where like we butt heads.
Oh yeah.
But it's hard because we're brothers.
Well, yeah, that's why mom always fed me first. You know what I mean? I worked with my brother as well.
I'm not going to lie. He actually did use that line on me one time. He did use that line on me one time, and I'll never forget it.
Yeah, that's a real one.
Oh,
you know what I mean? That's some personal stuff right there. Cuts deep. Cuts deep. That's a real one.
But being a business owner, what's like the pieces of advice that you've gotten from people that you still use to this day in running a business, owning a business, all that? Because a lot of like our listeners now, they're young entrepreneurs and they're young, like trying to become business owners. And obviously everyone sees like the glitz and the glam of like owning your own business, having lots of money, having your own free time, but they
Yeah.
don't understand the back burner things of it, you know?
I would say the best advice I got is the saying shouldn't be do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. It should be do what you love and you'll be cool with working 15 to 19 hour days every day. I think that's it, right? Like, I think that's the real answer is, you can't not work and be successful in anything, right? You're going to have to do some work. So in order to be cool with it, do something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
I enjoy painting. I like fixing things. I like when I can walk into somebody's, new room the new addition that they just put up, and now we're putting up the walls, and they come in and they go, oh, it's got walls.
Yeah,
walls,
they're so
honey.
excited.
Look at the walls, honey. And then we put the plaster on. They're like, this is like a real wall now. Like they're gonna put paint on this soon. And then we put the paint on it, and they're like, whoa, the trim looks great. The ceiling looks real. Like this is happening. What's the color, honey? And the wife picks the color. We put it on, and they're like, look,
it's always
look
like
at our masterpiece, And it's just such a great feeling giving that to them, Oh, shit, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? That was a good one. That was a good one. So helping people do that, I think, is really great. But I also enjoy building like a business system. I'm really enjoying that. That's something that I didn't realize I was going to have a passion for that I do.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah.
On the business one.
How you run your business. I forget where I heard this, but they were basically talking about the difference between an independent contractor and an entrepreneur. And they said an independent contractor does the job they would do, but for themselves. So it requires them to be there working to make the money. So you might not be making what your hourly wage would have been at work. You're making what the boss would have been charging for you at work, right? And an entrepreneur is solving problems. And they're looking to solve problems, and they have scalability. So they're not necessarily required to be there. So I like developing a system that doesn't require me on site, because it also will allow for me to expand, scale out, and create new opportunities for my employees as they develop and grow with me. So it incentivizes both of us to be working our hardest, because if we're all working together towards a goal of expansion and we expand, well, guess what? Somebody needs to be elevated to run that expansion.
Yeah.
And when you're elevated, you have more responsibility, and more responsibility, in the proper context, should mean more pay or more benefits more whatever it's going to be, whatever you can agree on that you feel will keep your employees around.
Do you think that's like a challenging thing, I guess you could say? It's like trying to find the right people. Because I did research, and like a lot of like 40, 50-year-olds like now in the trades, they're all going to retire soon,
They are.
And then all the new people that are coming in, all the young guys straight out of high school, like they just feel like they've been handed this stuff, or like, they think they deserve like, the big fat paycheck of like $30 an hour. They think they deserve the world.
Yeah.
I don't know if you deal with that with like young kids on like.
I have dealt with a few of them. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you handle that? Like I feel like it's a very difficult like topic.
I feel like culture is everything, right? I feel like culture is the answer. I feel like if you look at this newer, younger generation, they're not looking to be. It's not the old school like I'm happy to have a job generation.
Yeah.
They didn't live through the Depression. Their parents weren't in the Depression. We've had pretty boom times. I'm 39. I was born in 85. I was born during Ronald Reagan. Like, not only was there actual money, there was like Coke money in the streets. Like, everybody had money. You know what I mean? And then like after him was Bush, and people had money again. And then we had Clinton, and everybody had money again. Like, people have had money pretty much my whole life, give or take. Obviously, right? There's poor people everywhere all the time, but the economy itself has been pretty good. I don't think that our generation really has had that eye-opening moment where we were like, yikes. We almost did during COVID, but we got the bailout money, and all the bailout money went directly to consumers who they were still able to keep up their lifestyle. We're still able to do all the things we were doing anyway. So it wasn't like we had to feel it. Does that make sense?
It does. So
I feel like culture with this new generation is really important. trying to fight these kids off their phones is
hard.
It's crazy. So I like to just kind of give everybody a minute every now and hey, everybody, let's take a quick 5. Oh, gotta scroll.
Doomsday scrolling.
Gotta take my pictures. Snapchat pictures. Let them get it out of them, because if they can't get it out of them, some of them can't focus.
Yeah.
Right? And you allow them to focus. And I think the other thing is allowing people to have a clear path of elevation, being able to move up, because I think that the greatest motivator is being able to move forward and move up, right? Because if it looks like you're kind of at a dead end, like that's what we call a dead end job, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm doing this only and that's it. And it's never going to change.
Those are some of the worst jobs too.
Dude,
where
they're brutal.
You feel like you're not moving up the ladder, not
Oh
moving
yeah,
up the
you're
totem pole.
unappreciated,
Yeah.
right? Like nobody's buying, like I like to buy lunch for guys.
That's a good guy, local guy right there.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Fucking, I wish my foreman Mike White could buy me lunch.
Mike White would absolutely buy you lunch if he could. I don't think he's supposed to.
I'm not gonna lie though, he did buy me Dunkin'. So
of course he did.
I'm not even.
Yeah,
I'm only ball
there'll be no talking about the champ. There'll be no talking about the champ.
He's gonna watch this and be like, Thiago, this.
Yeah, I know. Mike White would get lunch.
Mike White's a good guy, but
if you're lucky enough to have Mike White as your foreman, you're lucky he's buying you Dunkin' Donuts and not leg kicks.
100%. I'd rather eat a donut than a fucking Mike White leg kick.
We all would.
But so yeah, the culture thing. It's so, because I see it with like, there's a few young guys in my company too, and it's like, it's different because I'm 29, and I was obviously, the way my dad was raised up was, you got to work hard to get good things in life.
Oh, absolutely.
This generation that we have here is, well, if I see it online, I see it on Instagram, I could do it just as good as them. It's like the whole social media influencer thing where like it gets these kids, like their brain gets tapped where they're like, oh, it's so easy to make money, but in all reality, it's a lot more harder than you really think.
Yeah, and it's a saturated market now because everybody. It's before, I feel like everybody was taught get a job. Now people are realizing you can't keep up with inflation and get a job. Sometimes you're going to have to do side things, and you're going to have to do things that you can scale out, or side things where you're not required to be there. And there's little things we're all doing now, right? That those little extra things that I think are moving us all forward. So I feel like the ability to move up is really important. I think the culture is really important. Everybody feeling appreciated and knowing we're all working towards a goal.
Yeah.
It's not my goal that you're working towards. It's our goal that we're all working towards. And and every time that we have a good day or something like that, like I think it's really important to let everybody know, like, you guys crushed it today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because I feel like sometimes they need that like pat on the back, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Because they kind of like, oh shit, they actually like give a fuck,
Yeah, because I do, and that's the real thing is like, if you actually care about your guys, you're going to appreciate what they're doing, because if you've done it, you know what it's like. There's a couple of different kinds of bosses, I would say. And I think that there's one group of bosses that did what they had to do and they want you to have to do it too. Yeah. And I think that there's another group of bosses that are like, listen, I know going up on the 30-foot ladder sucks. I'll go do it first. You do it after.
Yeah.
And leading by example, I think, goes a long way. I don't ask any of my guys to do anything I wouldn't do.
Yeah, that's honestly the
so
golden thing.
We go up there, I'll go up there. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's head up there and let's get reckless.
You guys probably look at you as like, oh shit, like he's not just like the boss that just like kind of stays back.
No,
he's willing.
Ivory tower bullshit.
Yeah, lead by example always. Yeah. Always lead by example. I'm a big George Washington guy. I don't know about you guys.
What, like the president?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you know another George Washington that's like worth talking about? It's just like
the guy in the dollar bill. Yeah, I know him.
There's a different guy that's just like, dude, I do the sidewalks. You know what I mean?
We do our runs. Well, we do our morning runs together. George Washington and I.
You know George?
Wait, go ahead, say what you want. I wanted to know about this George Washington character.
So yeah, no, I was just saying, like, he was one of those leaders that you read about him, and he was like, follow me. He was a huge guy. He jumped on a huge horse that was white, so you could see him clearly, and he was like, let's fucking go. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody was like, yeah, let's go, dude. We're going with George.
Yeah.
You know, and I try to at least try to embody that. You know, I'm not saying I'm George Washington, but I am saying I try to be a leader in that. You know, in that
sense.
You're just missing the powdered wig, dude. That's all you need.
Dude, if I had a powdered wig, if I was like 6'10",
What George Washington 6'10"?
no, he was like 6'4" or 5", but
Holy
like back
shit.
then, that's like huge.
That's huge.
That's huge. You know what I mean? For the 1700s.
It's not like
it's
not
a monster.
Yeah, it's not like our president now, you know, or I should say former president to be.
Yeah.
That's a topic in and of itself.
He is a topic. He's for sure a topic. I show my kids, and I'm like, you can be anything you want to be in this country.
And you just show them picture Joe Biden.
I'm like, he's not even awake.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh man, it's
you
great.
can be not awake and be the president, which is, you know,
That's
discouraging.
It's an
but
accomplishment. It's an accomplishment.
It's an accomplishment
I
for
wish I
him.
could sleep and then also earn money at the same time.
Yeah, he's doing that for sure. He's doing that for sure. That's a wild one.
Oh man, I read about that news this weekend too, about the whole like he's dropping out and everything like that.
This has been my call. I've been calling this.
Oh, you gonna be president?
No, that he's
Oh.
not. Oh, no, I want to be the dictator. Vote for me, dictator. So just while I have the chance, if you want to vote for me, Robert Sullivan for dictator, you only have to vote for me once. Close your eyes for like 2 years. It'll be fine after. And I'm not gonna like hurt anybody. I'm just gonna like remove the things that stop us from hurting ourselves. So like
That's a great. Oh, yep.
So like, yeah, you go over a bridge and there's like guardrails. No.
All right, wait. I think we need some fucking context right now. Because there's really no context.
I'm just gonna make everything as dangerous as possible, so everybody just controls
So
themselves.
like YOLO, you only live once?
yeah, basically.
Okay.
But like, some people are gonna really live it up, and some people are gonna. I'm just gonna stay home, and it's gonna cause a natural balancing.
You think so?
Let's try it out.
We'll see. Like, oh man, the
You
week.
can write me in.
I'll write you into my ballot.
Yeah, write me in, dude,
It's
for
fun.
dictator. Just write for dictator, so they know it's a permanent position. That's all. You guys can do the propaganda.
I guess we
It's
can.
not propaganda. It's just the state media.
Man, a dictator. Jesus Christ, that'd be weird for America. It's not
I
like
mean, would it?
I don't know. I don't know. It depends on what kind of dictator you are.
I mean, if you're like a crazy guy,
Like Hitler?
I mean, yeah, that would be wild. I think that would be. I mean, yeah.
We do not support Hitler on the podcast. Just a slight clarity there.
Oh, well, you definitely do not support Hitler. I fucking hate Hitler.
I would say it would probably be wild if we had a dictator like that in this country.
Like, what about like a king? You know what I mean?
I think they're trying to get back there.
You
I
think
saw
so?
something the other day that said this is the first time since the 70s that we haven't had a Biden, a Bush, or a Clinton running for president. And when you start doing the math, Joe Biden's run for president a few times. And he was on the ticket for Barack Obama. And when Barack Obama wasn't the president, Hillary Clinton was running. Before Barack Obama, George Bush was with Al Gore, so that was a Bush.
Yep.
And then you had Clinton before that, and then you had a Bush before that, and then you had a Bush on the ticket before that.
That's wild. I didn't know that.
And he was the vice president for Ronald Reagan.
I didn't know that stat.
So yeah, going backwards,
Jesus.
since like Jimmy Carter.
Wow, holy fuck. I didn't know that stat. That's crazy. That's a wild stat to even think about, too.
Yeah, it's weird that I know it.
It's like you do this research.
Yeah, no.
You're like that type of dude that has like free time. It's like conspiracy theories.
I mean, we all take shits, right? What we do at that time is up to us.
It all depends on what kind of shit we're talking. You know what I mean?
And I like to spend that time finding out when the last time.
Off topic, not really. We're going back to the whole boxing thing because it got me peaked. Because do you still watch it like now? Or
Oh yeah.
You're still like a fan of like
Oh, I'm
boxing.
a huge
UFC.
fan of
Yeah.
UFC, of Muay Thai.
Yeah,
I like one championships are awesome. I still watch
championships are
boxing.
awesome.
I love boxing.
Yeah.
I'll even watch Jake Paul.
All right, that's
I'll
the
even-
topic I wanted to get into.
I'll even watch Jake Paul.
So what do you think? What do you think about Jake Paul as a?
So here's the deal. All right,
go ahead.
Here's my like
Hot take.
amateur take.
No, it's definitely a hot take. We're
All
gonna
right.
clip this, send it to Jake Paul and his bitch ass team.
Well,
Yeah,
you also
okay.
fight though, so you have a more informed opinion than most people who probably talk about
Okay,
this sort of thing.
that's fair. Yeah, I've had a couple of fights. Let's not, I've had a couple of fights, and Sean's taught me really well, so I'm able to teach other people.
Yeah.
With that said, Jake Paul keeps fighting guys that are 40 pounds lighter than him.
Also 40 years older than him.
And 40 years older than him. Well, even Mike Perry. Like, Mike Perry's a beast, but, like, Mike Perry's excelling with bare knuckle because of the ability to cut your opponent and have to endure that kind of fighting. Sean would be perfect for that. Sean's that kind of fighter.
Sean would just,
where, like, you can cut Sean. You've seen the pictures of Sean.
Yep.
You can cut Sean. He's like, that's awesome. You know what I mean? He's like,
yeah.
Let's get to fighting now. It's like, dude, what? Just that, like, never-ending machine coming forward. And Mike Perry's one of those guys, but when you take him and you have him fighting a guy that had to get naked to make 200 pounds, and Mike Perry's probably walking around at 185, what's he actually fight at? What's his real, like, fight weight? It's not heavy.
I'm trying to think what he was in UFC. I think he was fighting the 170 division.
Yeah, so if he's fighting at
170,
170, he's probably walking around at like 190 tops.
Yeah, tops.
Right?
So him
and
fighting at 200.
And this guy's dropping probably 30 pounds to get down there. Jake Paul's obviously on steroids.
Yeah, I was gonna say he looks like he's on.
He
the
looks
juice for
jacked.
sure,
Yeah, he looks like Gordon Ryan, dude. He's like
jacked as fuck.
so
dude.
Jacked.
And it's kind of
good
weird
for him. Like, honestly, good for him, right? He literally created a career out of nothing.
Yeah,
He just started fighting non-boxers and was like, I'm a boxer. And everyone was
Yeah.
like, yeah, you are.
until
Here's millions of dollars. Like, what?
Here's the thing. So Jake Paul started fighting all these fucking old, retired, like, guys that never done boxing before. Then once he fought,
Tommy Fury.
Tommy Fury, and literally Tommy was like, why don't you fight somebody your own age and that has done boxing before? He did it. I give him respect that he actually did it. He stepped in the ring.
He got beat up.
And he got beat the fuck up.
He did get beat up.
Well deserved too, by the way.
Yeah, he did get beat up. And I think here's the thing with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson still might punch the shit out of this dude. Because
Mike Tyson might kill him.
Mike Tyson's a maniac. Like, that's the thing, right? There's a difference in fighters. I think that's something that, you really get to learn when you're closer to it. And that's something that we definitely learn at Red Seal with Sean is there's certain guys that you just, like, they can't be killed. Like, they're just going to keep coming and they're just ready to go, like that absolute warrior mentality. Mike White's one of them too.
Yep.
You see Mike White fight and you're like,
This
guy's a machine.
Yeah.
It's just never ending, coming at you. No matter what you're hitting him with, he's just still coming, And you have that, like, warrior mentality, and Mike Tyson's one of those guys. He's also 60 years old.
He shouldn't be fighting.
He shouldn't be fighting a 24-year-old kid.
Yeah, no. If this was like coked up Mike Tyson in the 90s,
dude,
Jake Paul might as well just
off of his meds.
Yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Do you remember that guy? When
like freshly out of jail,
yeah,
Mike
he was
Tyson.
like telling the journalists, like, I'm gonna rape you.
Yeah.
And you can see in his eyes he was dead serious. Like, how scary was that guy, right? And then he was a monster. His boxing, like, that's the thing about Mike Tyson. We all remember him as this, like, psychopath that had this heavy hands.
Yep.
His boxing was impeccable.
His footwork, everything.
His footwork was insane.
Everything.
His head movement was legendary. The way he was able to use that peekaboo style and, like, move in a way that he was coming in on you and he was already loading up those big hooks, they were ready to go. He was, oof. He's one of those guys that was a real victim of his time period because I think he made everybody look like they weren't on his level, and they didn't have guys that could at least step up and make it look like a real fight, like previous generations did have,
Because that's how,
like Ali had Frazier.
Yeah.
And they fought, and they were real fights. Mike Tyson was just...
Mike Tyson was just killing people.
And then he, like, lost his mind, and
Yeah.
he lost to, like, guys like Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield, biting in the ear. Like, that was a decline of a human being mentally. It wasn't necessarily his boxing skills were not
Definitely
what
not
they needed to be.
declining, no.
It was everything else around him that was the problem. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing about UFC nowadays, where it's like it's not one person dominates the whole time. Well, I mean, there is some champions that do. John Jones.
Well, yeah, John Jones.
But you see in UFC now, like, anybody can have a chance. Like, Sean Strickland, he beat Izzy.
He beat the shit out of Dreykus, too.
Yeah, he did.
And lost the fight because they don't like him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you guys watch that fight?
I did watch that fight.
He won that fight.
He 100%.
It wasn't pretty.
No.
He's just going to throw 1-2s and check your kicks. Like, that's all he's going to do.
That's the thing.
He's going to walk you down, and he's going to call you a pussy.
Yeah.
And he's going to really demoralize you. He's going to say some probably real offensive stuff to you the whole time. But that's what he's doing. He's walking guys down. He's putting so much pressure on these guys that a guy like Izzy can't even get anything off.
No.
Guy was a ninja until Sean Strickland showed up and was like, rah.
It's crazy about Sean Strickland too, because he kind of like in his early career, he wasn't. I don't want to say he wasn't that good, but he really developed almost like later on and became a champion. Which you don't usually see that sort of arch. You know what I mean?
I think that one of the cool things about him was, I don't know if you saw this, but after he got knocked out by Alex Pereira, he went and was like, "So you knocked me out. Teach me some cool shit, man."
Yeah, he went straight to him,
and he was in his corner for the fight against Izzy.
Yep, I do remember that. Like, who does that? Obviously, some
guy
guys
with huge
that
balls.
Yeah, some guy that was like, "Hey, I took it on the chin. You knocked me out. Now, how the fuck do I knock these motherfuckers out?"
Like he went to Connecticut and was like, "Teach me."
Yeah,
and they were like, "All right."
Oh, I didn't know that. Alex Pereira fights out of Connecticut.
Yeah, Glover Teixeira's in
Get the fuck out of here.
They're in New Haven. I think they're in New Haven.
I think we just have to go there now.
You can go to Frank Pepe's and you can go to. You guys fuck with pizza.
Go
to like Frank Pepe's. And
Frank
you can
Pepe.
Go to,
I've heard of Frank Pepe's.
Sally's of Pizza's down there too.
I think Dave Portnoy did a
he
thing
did.
on.
Sally's of Pizza has like a really high rating.
Yeah.
He's been on the South Shore lately.
He was in Massachusetts not too long
He was
ago.
in Plymouth the other day. He was at Mamma Mia's and he was at Black Raspberry.
I did hear about that, and then I think he was in. I forgot where he was. I know he was.
He was in Weymouth. He went to Next Page in. Wait, I'm a big pizza guy.
Hey, also, I'm just gonna say this real quick. I had Domino's the other day.
Yeah.
And they had their fucking New York style pizza.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I don't do pizza from Domino's, but I do garlic Parmesan bites.
Yeah, I fuck with those.
Yeah,
but here's the thing. I felt so disrespected. I'm not even a New Yorker. And I felt so fucking disrespected because like the thing literally I just wanted a pepperoni like fucking New York style, the classic, right?
Yep.
I fucking opened this fucking box, right? And I literally was like, what the fuck is this shit? And it was the same normal pizza, maybe a little bit thinner, and just one less cut. These fucking pieces of shit.
That's wild.
Exactly.
That's disrespectful.
Tell me about it.
New York style pizza has a very specific thing.
100%.
Right? Like we all know what it is. It's a giant pie.
Dude, this thing was no bigger than my hand, and I have small ass hands. This thing was no bigger than my hand. The disrespect that Domino's fucking decided to do. I wanted to be a Karen and fucking just send them an email.
You should.
I was like, that's
you should do a podcast from in front of Domino's Pizza.
Just
pegging them.
Yeah, absolutely. And be like, hey, we'll take a New York pizza, please. And put the lights on and just be like, throw it in the sky.
Chuck it over
to the sky.
But no, I felt like so disrespected, and I felt like that. After that, I don't think I can ever go back to Domino's.
What's your favorite pizza?
In terms of like toppings?
No, in terms of just like where's your favorite place to go for pizza? Like what's the best pizza you like?
Italy.
In actual Italy?
In 100% Italy. I think it was Naples. I went to Naples last year. Dude, the best pizza I ever had in my life. So
anything local?
And no shit. No fucking shit. Dude, that was honestly the best pizza I ever had in my life.
All right, if I ever go to Naples,
you have to. I forgot the name of the place.
I plan on it. If I go to anywhere, I plan on eating pizza.
Dude, they had I like thin crust pizza.
Me too.
But like it has to be having like a nice crisp.
Like a nice crisp too.
Like I sound like Dave Portnoy right now.
But not broken, right? Like
no.
It snaps.
Yeah, no, I hate that shit. Like it's just crisp, but it's like
nice.
Perfect. But I don't want no flop. You know?
No, you want it to be like a nice, real piece of pizza.
Dude, like literally, I feel like I'm like speaking Dave Portnoy right now.
That dude, no, he has like
he knows his pizza.
Yeah, he knows his pizza.
He knows his pizza.
He knows his pizza for sure.
And I respect it a lot for him.
Yeah. Do you guys do bar pizza?
Well, like the flatbread.
Like the small ones, like the small.
Nah, fuck that. That's too small for me.
Nah, go to Poopsies in Pembroke.
Poopsies?
Yeah.
Poopsies.
Poopsies, best pizza around.
What a name.
Best pizza around.
Or
Linwood. Or Linwood and Randolph. Linwood and Randolph or Poopsies in Pembroke.
Poopsies in Pembroke.
Yeah, that's where we should have did this from. They know me. They know me over there.
Part two.
Yeah,
part two. We can do part two over there. Yeah, they know me over there. I use it as my office sometimes. I'll go into Poopsies. They know me. They'll be like, "Oh, pizza and root beer." And I'm like, "You know it, girl."
Hell yeah. I fucking hate root beer.
You hate root beer?
I hate root beer.
All right, you can leave whenever you want.
Yeah, it's been a 200 podcast. Nah, I've never been a fan of root beer.
Why?
No. It just tastes funny.
Oh, I mean,
it's like Dr. Pepper.
Whoa. I mean, I guess there's similarities, but I think they're different. What about cream soda?
Nope.
No cream soda?
Nope.
What about you?
I'm a water guy. I'm basic.
Water guy. I knew you were about to say I don't drink water. I knew that was coming, actually.
Gatorade sometimes, but...
All right, what color Gatorade?
Oh, that's a hard one. Probably the blue. Like
blue.
Yeah.
What kind of blue though? Like the dark blue
Light
or the
blue or
light
dark
blue?
blue?
Light blue.
Light blue is the one.
Yeah.
Light blue is good.
You know what? Underrated Gatorade flavor is the yellow one.
Oh yeah, yellow's fire. Yeah. My son loves yellow.
Underrated.
Yeah, definitely hit yellow. I feel like red's overrated.
Red sucks.
Right, red's really overrated.
Red and orange suck.
You guys fuck with purple?
Purple slaps.
Yeah, purple low key is the one.
Oh man, how do we get into this fucking conversation?
I don't know. We're on purple Gatorade. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Pizza, Gatorade, fucking. I feel like we live in my fucking high school years again.
Hey, those are good years to live. Those are good. Pizza and Gatorade. Those are good years. Do you guys play video games at all? You guys see the new?
I used to, not anymore.
You see the college football game that just came back out?
I actually do want to play it now.
I really want to play it. I remember that game, from 2014, 13 when they had it coming out, the NCAA game. And my son the other day was like, "Dad, we should get a new game." And I was like, "Oh, I got an idea, bud." I got one for you. Yeah, we're about to be playing that one coming up on the college football season.
All of a sudden, your son becomes like a D1 fucking recruit.
Hey, that'd be fantastic. I'm all about that. If he wants to become a D1 recruit and get me some tickets to go somewhere fun, I'll go to Tennessee or something like that. I'm in.
Yeah, volunteers, baby.
I'm in.
You got to plant those seeds early.
Yeah, you do. You definitely do. I'll never forget. So my son had to be 6 months maybe. I don't even know if he was walking yet, but he was pulling himself up in his crib. And we had a little football for him. It was like the first thing I ever gave him. I have pictures in my house. I'll show them to you. We have family pictures, and he's one, just holding his football, just tight. Yeah, gripping it. So he was crying one night, and I went into his room, and he stood up, and he threw a perfect spiral through to the other side of his room. And I just remember being like, "It's my guy." Yeah,
it's such a proud dad moment.
That's my dad. That's my boy.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, throwing a tight spiral like Tom Brady, right?
It was a tight spiral. It was impressive to the point where I was like, "What? Is this kid amazing? What's happening right now?"
Dude, he might be the next Tom Brady. Who knows?
I mean, you never know, right? It's amazing. I mean, for sure. But it's really funny with stuff like that, right? Because when you have kids, I feel like people will really try to push them to be the best they can be early instead of teaching them those skills that will make them the best they can be later, which is like grinding it out, failing over and over and over again, but getting back up. I don't know if you guys ever skateboarded in your life, but I did. And skateboarding is one of the best ways to learn that, because how many times does it take you to learn how to ollie? How many times does it take you to learn how to kickflip? How many times you got to hit those stairs before you get to the bottom of them? How many times you have to fall, hit your face on the ground, and be like, "I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again." And those are the skills that you get a guy like Michael Jordan, like Tom Brady or whoever, it's those guys, Kobe Bryant, like those mental just machines who are just at it every single day getting to it.
Even back to the UFC thing, I know Khabib had talked about it a while, when we were talking about GOATs before. Khabib is definitely one of the greatest. He never lost, debatably in the UFC. But he always talks about guys that come to his gym. It's like there's guys that come with talent, but you can't push them that hard because they sort of fall apart. It's like they've always just been good their whole life. And there's that whole quote where it's like, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. It's like, as a parent, man, if you can instill hard work as opposed to talent, like if they have hard work and they just so happen to be talented, greatest of all time.
Perfect.
But it's like if they're super talented and they don't have the hard work, nothing ever happens anyways.
Yeah, and that's actually a phenomenon with young people when they're really smart early. Everybody tells them how smart they are, so they expect things to be easy. And when it's harder for people, it's like they have to work through it. And when they start, catching up mentally or catching up, book smarts or whatever it is where they're behind, you see that really good push. My son, when he was very young, didn't really have much speech. He wasn't able to speak, know, and he had to work through a plethora of different just issues that he was having, and every single time that we talk now, because he's 8 now, and he's worked through a lot of them, and I'll say to him all the time, like, buddy, you overcame something that's so hard to overcome right away. Don't ever forget how hard that was, because he did it for himself, because the only person that could do it is you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you have to do it. You have to go through it, right? So me and him would work together on it, and we would work, and we would struggle, and we would struggle, and we would struggle, and we would struggle, and we would struggle. But now he's getting to where, he's good. He was very, you couldn't understand him.
Yeah.
At all, But now you can understand everything he's saying. And he's so proud of himself because we got there together.
That's a feel-good moment, too,
It's a great moment. Yeah. And I remind him of that all the time, because I say to him, you did one of the hardest things that people can do already, and you're only 8. Imagine what the future holds.
Yeah.
Any little victories that I can give to my kids, or big victories that I can show them are big victories, I feel like that's what builds.
That's what builds them to be a really good person.
Yeah, and going back to what we were talking about with culture at work, right? You're trying to build people. You're trying to build people that are going to be effective, efficient, and they're going to be able to help your business grow.
Yeah. And especially to your point, when you celebrate those things too, man, what that does for someone's confidence, what that does for your child, what that does for people in the workplace. Because people are just so used to people just, people are like more easily dish out like what you did wrong as opposed to what you did right. So when someone does something hard, like your son overcoming the speech issues he had, and you celebrate that, man, that puts something, honestly, even when you were saying that, I was like, damn, man, that made me feel good. And I'm not even your son, you know what I mean? Give me praise.
Yeah, no, it's just one of those things, right? Where I feel like when you give people their due, what do the kids say now? When you give them their flowers, right? When you give them their flowers, like it works. I feel like when you give people praise for what they're doing, it helps them to recognize their hard work, and it helps them to recognize like what they're really doing and what they're capable of. And especially with my kids, like I try to explain to them, you're capable of whatever you want to be capable of. And I'll show them like, hey, what do you want? Show it to me. And then I'll break down the steps of how they get there. And I'll help them to break down the steps of how they get there so we can at least have an idea how we're getting there.
Man, I wonder too, like, because obviously nowadays we have media and we can sort of talk about these things. I don't know if this has been like an evolution in parenting and an evolution in business, but a lot of business owners we've talked to share the same sort of kind of ideology where it's just like propping people up, giving them praise and to build that sort of confidence. I wonder if the generation before us, like our dads or like those business owners, if they had this or like where this kind of like stemmed from. Because you said in the beginning, like you and your dad kind of had like a different vision on business. Like your dad is more interested in, I don't know if it was the craft necessarily, but just painting, and you sort of, brought in the horizons and kind of got into the systems. Yeah. Like, do you think that's just like the natural human evolution, or do you think there's this before we just didn't get to see it?
I think his generation, he was born in the 50s. They're hard, right? Yeah, like I said, they remember, their parents were in the Depression. So you were told that you're lucky to have a job, right? So you don't complain. No matter how much of a dick your boss is, you don't complain, you just deal with it.
Right.
Where I feel like now we're learning more about like with the introduction of like positive psychology and all these different, aspects that are, I don't know if you guys ever heard of The Secret and, things like that where people are using visualization and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And Conor McGregor is one of those guys. He lives by saying what it is and having the belief that it can happen.
Right.
And if you can say it out loud and you can have the balls to create a plan, like, it could fucking happen. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what it is, Right. Anything is possible and anything can happen and anybody can do anything.
Right.
And that's another conversation I have with my son and my daughters. You can be anything, Joe Biden is the president. You can be anything you want to be. Hunter Biden lives life as he is. You can be anything is the point I'm getting at, with the proper encouragement.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling it right now. I'm feeling it.
Shout out 3 sips.
3 sips. I took more than 3 sips and I'm already feeling it.
Good. I like that.
Yeah, I'm a fucking lightweight.
I am too.
Nah, but it's good that because you don't see that a lot nowadays. People praising and everything like that. Because like a lot of old bosses, a lot of old business owners, they're just like, all right, we gotta get this shit done. Get it done as fast as you can, et cetera, et cetera. All right, and then the team crushes it, and they're like, okay, next one.
Let's move on to the next one.
Let's move on to that. Oh, you did it that fast? Okay, now we're
that's my new expectation for you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering. I'm like, how did that sort of evolution kind of happen where it went from like those hard asses to this new wave? Is it just like this new iteration is better and they outcompete those people, right? Because if there's you in a room and there's that old school guy talking to a customer and having teams behind them, it's like naturally you're going to win because you're rooting your team, you're picking them up, you have systems built, whereas this guy's like berating them and belittling them. It's like, well, just as someone looking for a job, if I'm looking at those two options, who am I going to go with? The guy who praises his team, puts them up on a pedestal.
Exactly.
If I'm a customer and I see those two interactions going down, it's like, I'm going to lean that way, right?
Yeah. And I feel like that's 100% the truth, And I feel like the building people up, they'll be willing to work harder for you. And I think that that's a real key component to having like a winning team. Because at the end of the day, I think that our generation, I don't know why we understand this more. I mean, it's probably because politically and socially it's more pushed now. But I feel like there's, without the people working, the job's not going to get done. Without the foreman, it's not going to be organized. And without the boss, there is no job to begin with, right? We all have a role to play. And I feel like on any team, like the Patriots, you guys watch football?
Yep.
All right. So why were the Patriots so great for so long?
Because they had Thomas Brady.
Well, they did have Tom Brady. They had Tom Brady, and they had a great defense, right? But
100%.
But if the guys on the defensive line weren't doing their job, then the linebackers couldn't do their job, and the ends couldn't set the edges, and the cornerbacks and the safeties wouldn't have been able to put pressure on people's wide receivers, and that way these guys are getting off the passes instead of us shutting down their offense and making the Rams score 3 points in the Super Bowl. No big deal. Right? So everybody had to do their job for it to work. So if I come in and I say, hey guys, I got us a big job, and the foreman on the job doesn't organize everything and make it efficient, and the workers aren't actually carrying out their duties the way they should and with the efficiency that we train them with, right?
Yep.
Then it's not going to get done, and one of us is not going to get what we want along the way.
Yeah.
Right? And we're all a team. So I want my guys to do well. I want them to have as many hours as the job calls for.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't want them to have more hours than the job calls for, because I try to take care of my guys. So there's costs that are associated with the company that are for them that isn't directly in their check, right? Yeah. So the company needs to make money. I need to make money. The foreman needs to make money. And we all need to be paid for what we're doing, you know? And I feel like having that team atmosphere just allows for everybody to be working towards the goal together. Right? And I think that positivity goes so far.
And it sounds like you kind of know your guys like on an individual level too. You know what they're interested in and what sort of motivates them as well. Because I feel like the old school business mindset was just like everyone just wants more money and they just want to climb the ladder and that's sort of it. But some people are doing this job to get to another place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like maybe they're working for a construction company today, but maybe they want to get into like Mike White wants to be a kickboxer, or he is a kickboxing champion. You know,
he's a kickboxing champion guy.
He is a champion.
7-time champion, 14-0 undefeated fighter.
Who's counting though? But you know what I mean?
We all are.
But you know what I mean? So it's like, back in the day, it was just like, oh, everyone wants to just climb the ladder. But it's like, no, some people want to be kickboxers. Some people want to be DJs. Some people want to have a podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like knowing people on that individual level and what it is that they're into. It's like, you might not push this guy who's wants to, maybe it's work-life balance. Maybe they want to just be home with their family.
Some guys,
you know what I mean?
Some guys just want to come in, put in 8 to 10 hours every day because they don't mind taking the 10-hour days because they have a family.
Right.
Christmas is coming around the corner.
Yep. Right.
You know what I mean? Like they don't mind the extra hours. They'll put in the time, but they want to go home and turn it off.
Right.
You know, and some of us, like myself, where I'm willing to sacrifice those nights and that time and those weekends so that I could down the road be able to not have to show up on a job at all. You know?
And you're also built for it, because some people also aren't. That's a conversation we get into a lot too. It's like people are built for different levels of stressors and
100%.
and even just intelligence, right? Like unfortunately, sometimes people look at business just like anyone can do it. Unfortunately, that's not really the case.
No,
like at the higher levels, it's like you really do need to be. There has to be some level of intelligence there too. But like back to even the point of just knowing your people on like an individual level, like that's really important, right? Like is that like one of the keys to success, or just having a good functioning team, just really knowing your people?
I would say that knowing your guys is super important, because if you don't know your guys, how do you know what motivates them, right? If you can't talk to somebody and say, hey man, like this, we're doing this for our families. Well, if he doesn't care about his family, he's like, I'm doing this for beer money and strippers. It's like, hey man, we're doing this for beer money and strippers. You know what I mean? Like those strippers take money, dude. We got to finish this job to get the money for the strippers. Whatever it's going to be that gets people motivated, I feel like you have to know your guys. And I think the other thing that should be really important is understanding who people are and understanding the turmoil that we all go through, and being understanding of the turmoil, right? So I have one guy that just doesn't have his license. He takes the train everywhere. So I'm not going to break his balls when he's a couple minutes late. Works his ass off when he gets there. He makes up for the time, So I don't break his balls about it. I'll come get you. I don't mind driving and picking up my guys. I don't mind taking that extra ride with them. And even if I'm not even going to be there for the day, I don't mind going and getting them and getting everybody there.
It's that little like my favorite quote is, it costs $0 to be a good person. You're just being.
My dad used to say that all the time when I was a kid.
It's free. It's honestly
free to be a good person.
It's free to be a good person, and like you do this for your guys because you want to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
You want to be a good guy.
I want my guys to win.
Yeah, exactly.
I want my guys to be able to be so proud of where we work, and I want my guys to be so proud wearing these hats. Like, this is my favorite. So Miles' daughter, every now and again when she has school vacation or something like that, we bring her in and she'll do some patchwork for us. She's great. She does a great job. He's taught her so well. She's so good. She's so proud of all of us. And she's so proud to be part of the team. She literally wears her finest finish hat every day.
That's what's up.
Right? Every single day she wears it because she's like, nah, it's the squad. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
This is the squad.
Squad deep.
You know, and she loves it. And I love that his daughter's so proud of what he's building and we're building, and that we're all building it together. My kids as well. Like, we're all proud of what we're building, and we're all proud of each other, because as we're learning more and as we're challenging each other and we're challenging ourselves and we're expanding what it is that we offer, you know, we're working on stuff right now that we don't offer that we're going to offer.
Yeah, expanding.
You know? Always expanding. Always
expanding.
Learning. I'm big on learning.
Yeah.
So I'm always I'll be the guy sending everybody like 1,000 YouTube videos. Like, hey, this is you know, how to make your brain be more efficient so we can do 2 things at once. Let's go, guys. You know what I mean? Like, we'll be listening to podcasts, like informational, like we'll even be listening to lectures while we're painting the houses. We've had clients come in. I'm like, what are you guys listening to? Like, oh, we're listening to a psychology lecture. Like,
just casual.
Who are you guys? But we're always trying to learn, always trying to be better. Always trying to be better, right?
Yeah,
that's all you can do.
I think that's the key thing, because I always want to say, like, I want to be better than my version of last year.
100%.
You know?
So yeah, better than yesterday.
You're better than yesterday.
I'm 1% better than yesterday.
That's it. So I think I live by that, and I know that Alex lives by that too.
And I just love that idea of just the shift from people used to be like this expendable thing. Like, it was just like cattle, or like in manufacturing days, it's like cogs. And now they're like real people, real like, at least like the good business owners we've talked to all embody that thing where it's like first off, they don't work for me, I work for them, but they're not coworkers, they're family. Even the way you talk about Miles, I see it in your eyes. It's
my
like,
guy.
You can fake that if you want, unless you're Leonardo DiCaprio, which you might be. But
I mean, that would be cool if I was. He lives a pretty fire life.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, it really comes through. Like, that's your guy, you know, and these are your people. And I just love that shit. And I love that.
Man, I appreciate that.
I don't have any words, but that's good shit.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Make me cry, dude.
So Miles and I, we went to high school together, and we were never like really close, you know. And do you guys remember the year when people's roofs were collapsing from the snow?
Wait, what? Hang on, sorry, what?
So it was probably 10 years ago? 10 years ago? When roofs were collapsing because we got so much snow that February. Probably got like 8 feet of snow that February.
I don't remember
And
that.
people were getting their roofs shoveled off. So I had a bunch of clients coming in, and I needed help. And I just put on Facebook, hey, you know, I need some help. Anybody want to shovel roofs? And I know both Miles and his wife. They both went to high school with me.
Yep.
And one of them reached out and was like, hey, I'll come work. So he showed up, and he came and he worked his ass off. And it was just the 2 of us for like a month just shoveling people's roofs. But it's like when you like mine coal together. We almost fell off roofs. We saved each other on multiple occasions. Like, we just looked at each other and we were like both bearded, like huge beards, just like snow and ice all through them. We're literally getting, you know, like snow like this off of the roof. And it was insane. It was so much snow, you know, and it was so dangerous.
Yeah.
And we both almost fell off like 3-4 story buildings, like our houses, you know what I mean? Like, and we were catching each other like on the, like I fell, he grabbed me and like dropped to the other side of the peak to like give me a strength. We were literally tied off at the waist opposite of each other and stuff. So like, we're taking care of each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like we built a bond through that. That's, you know, now we'll both climb a ladder together, and he'll be like, you got me? And I'm like, I got you, bro. Like, we're both going home today, buddy. Don't you worry.
I think we should do that. Like, I think
a nice team building experience.
Like, I think we should honestly do that. Like, you know, like just go up on the roof, and I'm like, all right, Alex, I'm gonna push you, but I'm gonna grab you at the same time.
Yeah, you guys just it's a bond.
I think
it's like a trust fall, but like.
But
it was. We were up there with like an axe, literally trying to chop out ice dams for people because it was just so bad. It was just crazy. It was just a wild, you know, January into February, and we just took care of each other. And from then on, we started painting together, and we started climbing the ladders together, and we were both doing the high work together, and we both take care of each other. There's been jobs where I'm getting killed, and he knows it, and I'll go, nah, man, there's no money left on the job. I'll just finish it myself, and he'll go, no, you won't, and he'll show up and he'll just work with me.
that's a good foot.
Neither of us are getting paid. You know what I mean? Like, we'll just finish it. because he understands that there's a vision, and the vision includes great things for him as well as me. And we're working as a team. There's no I in this situation. We're all working together. And I want good things for my guys, always. I want them to have great Christmases. That was like our first year goal was, let's have a good Christmas. That was our first year's goal.
That's always a good like.
Right? He has 4 kids, I got 3.
Yeah.
Let's have a good Christmas.
Yeah.
Like that's our first year goal.
That's what's up.
As we were building, that was really it. It was, let's make sure that there's money for us both to have a good Christmas. Bills are paid, happy. Because young businesses, it's hard. It's a struggle. Hard. Yep. You know, we're building from nothing. Mm-hmm. Although we have all this experience, we're building the business from nothing, right? So we're starting from the bottom, and it's hard to build from there. And, you know, and you're fighting that not being known. Right?
Yep.
People don't know our work yet. People don't know our style yet. We don't have that identity developed yet, right? So we're constantly developing our identity. And that's one of the things that I think helps develop it, is that we come in and we finish the job. You know, we do what we say we're gonna do.
Your story is actually like really like fucking making me so like teary-eyed.
Oh, thanks,
because it's good to see like local business owners that give a fuck about their guys and making sure the job is done right and making sure people are happy with the product that they came out with.
Yeah, sometimes they're not even happy, but we try our best.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes, and that's the truth, right? That's like the honest to God truth. Sometimes you're gonna do your best and it's not gonna be good enough.
Yeah. That's
what do you do from there?
Yeah.
Right? You do your best and you make sure that, hey, okay, my best wasn't good enough, so now I have to give it a second shot and make it good enough.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes you face that. And I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but it's the truth. As a business owner, every single business owner and every single person that's ever worked on anything that was new, they know you have to fail in order to get better. You know? So we try to make sure that our clients are happy when we leave.
Yeah.
You know, and you might not, you know, we've had issues. We've had all types of stuff, right? There's ups and downs with everybody. But in reality, I think we've walked away from every job with people saying, okay, this is exactly what they said it was going to be.
It's a feel-good moment.
I think so.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Definitely is a feel-good moment. I guess the last question I should ask you is if you can talk to your youngest self and give him a piece of advice for the future, not like spoil anything for him, you know. Don't tell him like the Patriots are going to win 6 Super Bowls or something like that.
No, I would never tell him that.
Yeah.
No way. One of the best nights of my life was the AFC Championship.
Which one?
The Snow Bowl game.
Oh.
It was 2001?
Oh, against Oakland.
I was either like a sophomore or a junior in high school. And me
6.
and the boys all went down to Building 19 and we got Patriots jumpsuits. And we got a calzone, and we had the greatest night of our lives. We played football in the snow against his older brother and all his friends, and we all just destroyed each other. And we were the happiest boys in all the land.
But if there's one thing that you could tell your younger self, what would that one thing be? That's a tough question, because nobody really truly knows, you know?
If I was to talk to my younger self, I would say, stop spending money, invest, 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 and just never stop investing. Invest as much as possible. I feel like with compounding interest and with real estate and with even just like a ETF that tracks the S&P, you know, anything like that's going up over time. And if I was taking the money and putting it into where it should have been and investing it, I feel as though I would have seen the returns that we all want to see, right? Over that period of time, 20 years, 39, so 20 years, call it, 25 years. So that would be my advice to myself, is to invest like crazy and to learn finance. Understanding money is probably one of the most important things we can do.
Especially as a business owner, right?
Especially as a business owner, especially as a father, especially as a person that lives in 2024, right? We're seeing inflation that people don't really know how to deal with. We're seeing food prices jump and people don't know how to deal with it. And I think like financial intelligence is so important, and so many people don't have it. They don't teach it in school.
No.
But you can go get it. You know, you can open up an account with Vanguard or any of these, you know, like Fidelity. They all have on-site education for free.
Yeah.
You know, and it's from the best of the best, you know? So if you go out and you find it, it's there. Like the YouTube exists. You can learn anything, right? You can learn psychology from Jordan Peterson. You can listen to his lectures, right? You can listen to his lectures from Harvard and the University of Toronto whenever you want, right? And you can do that with a lot of teachers, and you can do that with a lot of subjects. So just learn and invest. That's what I would say.
That was fantastic. We honestly, I think the reason we do this podcast in a lot of ways is I work in education, and the push is usually to get people to college, but we kind of I've seen that there's guys also interested in the trades, and that doesn't get enough love. So that's kind of what we do with this. And obviously there's the educational component, and we teach, we sit down with a lot of business leaders and entrepreneurs, and we talk about that sort of stuff. We haven't touched too much on the finance thing, but I think that's a very important part to all of this, right? Because it's like the big thing is, not the big thing, there's a lot of big things, but making money, but then you make the money, what the fuck are you supposed to do with it? What do you do with it? What do you do with it?
You don't want to give it to the government.
What do you do with it?
I'll tell you what you do. You buy a fucking boat.
Yeah, I mean,
you buy a fucking boat.
But ready? So here's like the kind of stuff that I think when we're going back to what you would tell your younger self, your company would buy a boat instead of you buying the boat.
That's some rich dad, poor dad shit right there.
Rich dad, poor dad shit. That's some, that's what wealthy people do. Yeah. They're not purchasing anything. Yeah, they don't have any money. They're holding assets. They're holding assets and borrowing against them.
That is one book I would recommend to people. I know this is a trades podcast, but book in general, it's a very easy read, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. That'll just completely change your mindset, because to your point, that's what he talks about in the book, because you have your business buy your assets rather than you with your personal. And why do you do that? Because the tax benefits of doing so.
Tax benefits, you know right? I mean, unless you want to send your money to Ukraine.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because that's where it's going.
$2.6 million just lost out of nowhere.
If that's where you want it to go, that's where it's going, right? Because you can look at what our government spends money on, and you can say, that's where I want my money to go. Okay, more power to you. You know what I mean? It's America. Pay your taxes.
Get
go
that
crazy.
mic away from me. I'm gonna
am I getting you started?
Do it for the clicks. Do it for the clicks.
I'm known to get it started, man. I get people activated sometimes.
I love that. So is there any books or like resources that have really helped you to like develop that piece of your game that you would recommend to people?
The one that I'm
sort of asking this for myself too.
Yeah, no, the one I forced on my kids was Richest Man in Babylon.
Okay.
It's like a very short book about how to portion out your income and how to portion out what you're going to do with your money. Rich Dad, Poor Dad's a good one. Mm-hmm. I love like anything by Robert Greene.
Okay.
I'm a big Robert Greene guy.
Yeah.
So I like 48 Laws of Power, 33 Strategies of War, Laws of Human Nature, Laws of Seduction. All great books, you know. I think Rich Dad, Poor Dad's a really clearly written book that will kind of give you the insight on it. And I know you said that this was a trades podcast, and I think this is something that's really important that I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I feel like within trades, there's not as much focus on finance. Right? And I feel
this is our first time touching on it in like 10 episodes, right? Like we haven't touched on it at all.
And it's really important.
Dude, it might be the most important.
Yeah, like budgeting your money is so important.
Crucial.
It's crucial, right? And being able to understand what to do with that money and understanding that your business can buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So if your business can buy Bitcoin, like why aren't you? You can do that and hold it as an asset for your business. And
Dude, I think the big thing now that I'm thinking about it is I don't think people know how taxes work for businesses versus personal people.
And that's a whole nother podcast.
That's part two.
Yeah, maybe we got to sit down with a CPA or something. But like that's
a good idea. You definitely should.
Yeah, because that's like really crucial. Because I think people think like how it works, like with when you're getting your W-2 check is the same as a business owner.
No,
but
it's not at all.
It's not the same at all.
It's not at all. And that's something that you got to learn, and that's something you got to do to learn too, right?
Yeah.
You got to jump into it and read about it and learn about it and use AI about it, and,
Because that might be one of the greatest benefits of being a business owner is the tax advantages,
the deductions and the advantages. Absolutely,
right.
That's why you see a lot of people riding around in these Range Rovers, and the G-Wagons, and the nice cars that are big because they can write them off because of the weight of them.
Hell yeah,
it's a commercial vehicle.
Yeah,
there's a lot of cool stuff you can do.
I'm learning a lot right now, man. Because I don't really dip into finances, so it's pretty cool.
There's a lot of stuff you can just look on. There's mosquitoes.
Yeah, no, Alex.
We are in the woods.
Right there.
Yeah, we're in the woods right now. There's some mosquitoes here that are like, "What's up, bro? What part are you from?" But yeah, I think there's a lot of resources that you can look into, and you can find it anywhere with YouTube. You can find it on Google. You can go on ChatGPT and have a full conversation with something that just scours the internet for information. You know, so there's so many there's just so many outlets now that it's just having the interest in it and understanding how you want to apply it. I feel like is really the game, right? And understanding it.
Hell yeah.
I think. Yeah. I think, man, we'll see.
No, yeah, we'll see in like 10 years, maybe.
We'll see in part 2.
Yeah, part two, and when AI takes over in 10 years.
Oof, did you guys see that, speaking of that, I don't know how much longer you guys want to run, but I'll keep going. Did you see that Amazon just laid off 80,000 workers?
I didn't.
80,000 workers were replaced by 120,000 robots.
Hot take. Holy shit.
So here's the question now, and this is what I keep seeing as like a philosophical question. At what point do AI-powered robots take over all the jobs, and what do you do with all the humans? And now, do we have to start talking about a basic universal income? Kind of.
I'm going to tell you one thing right now. No robot can do my job, okay?
No robot can do my job either.
No robot can never do...
I mean, I'm cool with robots, though. We're fine.
No, just in case you guys are watching.
You know, we're good.
Because we know you are.
Yeah, no, we're cool.
No robot can... I mean, it's crazy to think, like, robots can eventually take over, like, jobs. But when you really think about it, like, robots can't really, like...
Not yet.
I don't know.
Not yet.
That's definitely like a fucking part 2.
Because that even gets into a wild thing too. Because I don't know if it was Rich that we had on an episode or two before, but he's like, we're all basically. He didn't say the word Android; it was a different word. But he's like, we're all essentially merged with technology already. We have phones in our pockets that we just pull out.
Brendan said that.
Yeah.
Brendan said that.
Yeah. Once you sync them.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
We're already cyborgs, and then the whole thing that Elon Musk is doing, where implanting the thing in your, it's already
the
so
Neuralink.
quick. Yeah. It's already so quick.
Imagine the capabilities, right? You guys could be having a full-out conversation while running this podcast, and I would never hear it. And you could be doing all the production stuff that needs to be done and never interrupt the conversation, right? So, like,
not enough.
That's like, where are we going to be in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right?
It's scary.
It's only going to get crazier. It's only going to get more wild, you know? There was a commercial, 2020 or 2021, and it was a robotics commercial, and it was a hand of a human and a hand of a robot shaking, and it said the next 10 years will have more advancement than we've seen in the last 100 years. So think about what we've seen in the last 100 years. So 1924 to now.
Exactly.
So in the next 10 years, so by 2034, we're expecting to have that much advancement from where we are today. I don't know if you guys have seen anything lately.
I'm getting goosebumps right now. This
right?
is how scary it is.
It's a really wild, it's a really wild concept in a real wild time we're living in. And I think that you're going to see, here's my hottest take. Hottest take of the night. So I think you're going to start seeing business owners that are in the trades. They're going to start buying robots. You're going to start seeing, because think about it, right? I can come to your house and I can cut the wall with my brush, pretty laser, but not actual laser. I'm not an actual laser, right? Yeah. But why aren't we at the point where we can have something come in and with laser accuracy,
it does the job 10 times faster.
And it's not going to ask for a raise.
We don't know. We don't fucking know.
It's only going to cost less money over a long period because it's only going to cost the upkeep of it. That's why Amazon's doing it.
Jesus Christ, I'm scared now.
So now, that's what we're seeing now. So there's going to be a whole new industry of guys that are in the trades, that understand the trades, that are going to be programming these robots into what they're supposed to do in the proper order. And that's going to be its own industry.
Dude, Mark Mason was talking about that a little bit in like the episode 2 or whatever, like the idea of introducing automations, even, I don't know necessarily if it was like with the plumbing, but just like the business aspect, but he's in the trades. He's already doing that. What's the next step between just like, oh, what if we can get a robot that just picks up the heavy pipe and brings it to our guys?
Yeah.
And then what if we just got a robot that dug into the earth so they wouldn't have to break their backs doing that? And what if we got a robot that took that pipe, put it in the, it's like these small micro steps, but it's like, before you know it, it's like, well, how many plumbers do you actually, like...
You'll need less.
Yeah.
You'll need less.
I wonder if do you know of any companies that are like, I don't know even how to word the question, but it's like, that are like in like AI, but for the trade, like building robots for that? Like, is that a thing yet?
It's definitely a thing already, but I don't know the companies that are doing it. And I'm not even sure that the cost effectiveness is there yet.
Yeah, right.
But it is a concept that's being worked out definitely right now.
Tiago, right? I feel like we should find someone that's like working on that. That'd
be sick.
I worked at I think one of my guys, one of the crews at my job, they worked at Boston Dynamics. I work with the robots.
That's probably an interesting place to be.
So they worked at that actual place. So hey, fuck it, Boston Dynamics. I'm gonna put the ball in your court. Fucking, we would love to test some robots out and try to see if they can fucking outplumb Tiago Furtado.
Whoa, I like it. I like it.
Challenge been dropped.
I like that a lot.
Oh, man.
I like that a lot.
I really love where this podcast went, man. Yeah. Like, it's funny. In the beginning, there's always the intro stuff and kind of like building the base. But towards the tail end, I guess that's why Joe Rogan and all those guys, they go the 2-3 hours. Because towards the tail end, you start to really start cooking with some ideas. Because now I'm like, man, this is a whole podcast episode right here going into this.
A whole nother conversation. Yeah,
it is, right?
Its own conversation. It's just very interesting, right? Because we just live in a time where we're going to be able to... I think that before the AI developments come through, like there's companies like, let's say, like Palantir Technologies, right? That's one that people don't really know about.
That's Peter Thiel's, right?
No, yes, he is involved in that. And then Alex Karp is the CEO. Brilliant dude. Weirdo. Brilliant dude. They all are, right? But they were involved in the AI summit that they had in DC with Elon Musk and Bill Gates and all these major players. And Palantir was there. Palantir's only like major customer has been the Department of Defense for the last 10, 15 years. And they're like working with them, right? That's I don't know if it's 10, 15 years. I made that up. But as long as they've been doing it, that's been one of their major clients. And now they're starting to introduce their commercial applications for their products. They're putting it in jets. And when they land, they're saying, fix this part and this part and this part right now, because you'll get the most efficiency out of this vehicle before you get to the next place where you'll fix this part and this part and this part.
Straight
and
up
it's
goosebumps right now.
Right, and it gets you them. It's like literally efficiently telling the mechanics what to fix at every single station. And when they have another program where it will tell me, when Alex and Tiago come in and they call me, I can pull up your profile and say, it will say to me, oh, offer them, 3 rooms at this price. They'll probably say yes, based off of your purchase history. So even if you go to like the restaurant, they could use it, pull up your profile and say, hey, do you want some mozzarella sticks for an extra $6?
Hell yeah, dude.
And exactly. but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's built to know what your personal profile will do and will react to based off of your purchase history and the psychology behind it.
Holy shit.
Dude, my mind's been blown.
2024, bro.
Jesus.
2024 is a wild time.
I can't wait for next year.
We'll see if we get there.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Thinking.
Let's see how we get there.
Let's wait for the presidential election.
That's gonna be a wild time.
One day at a time.
I think we're gonna see some wild shit this year. I think 2020 was a wild election. I think this is gonna be insane.
Bro, we didn't even touch on the Donald Trump era.
Still got shot.
When's the last time there was an assassination attempt on a U.S. president?
It was Reagan. Reagan got it was an attempted assassination.
Yeah, it was
but
attempted.
We didn't have a woman. No, I'm just kidding. I won't go down that.
Amazing.
I'm sorry.
Backtrack.
We'll end it at that. I'm probably definitely gonna have to delete that. Fuck.
Definitely don't delete that. Keep it. Keep it. There. Have you guys seen any of the actual?
I have. Yep.
She's been getting beat to death. Every single
bad.
congresswoman, every congressman is just beating her to death verbally.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so, of course. How do you blow something like that, right?
Idiot.
And then now you're not even answering questions about it.
Like you're avoiding the topic. Fuck you.
You know, and that, not to be a guy, but
not to be a misogynist asshole.
Yeah, no, not even to be like an asshole, but just like, how does that happen?
Arguably one of the most important people in the world. Do you it's a valuable asset. How do we not?
Yeah. No matter how you feel about him, he's a former president. Like Jimmy Carter's a former president. He was bad at his job. I don't want anybody to shoot him.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nah. Fuck.
I know. He was.
Donald Trump, I hope you're okay. I hope you're healing
He's fine.
pretty
That
well.
guy's a machine.
That guy's a tank.
That guy's an absolute machine.
Guy's a fucking tank.
It's wild to me, like... Yeah, we don't have to do all that. Say it. It's just wild to me how we don't look at, that aspect of him as often as we should. I feel like the media has really like twisted a lot of stuff
100%.
about him. And I feel like there's some really inspiring things about this guy. Just him getting shot changed everything, I
100%.
think, for everybody.
Yep.
And if it didn't change everything for you, then I don't think you're paying attention properly. Because
Definitely not.
they shouldn't be shooting at the opposition leader. That's like stuff that happens in banana republics and like places like Venezuela. Yeah. You know what I mean? In Cuba.
Yeah.
Like communist countries and stuff. We have stuff happening here where you're like, wait a second.
What the fuck?
Wait, people don't trust our elections and opposition parties getting shot at?
Bobby for dictator.
Bobby for dictator.
Bobby for dictator.
There'll be more assassination attempts on me than you've ever seen, but it'll be fine.
Bobby, we want to thank you for your time.
Oh,
obviously.
thank you guys.
It was honestly
Awesome
a pleasure being out here in the woods, getting eaten by mosquitoes.
Yep, we're all
and honestly, it was honestly a pleasure talking to you. About your business and everything like that. So. This has been the Too Legit Podcast with Bobby Sullivan, future dictator. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Part 2 coming from a pizza near you.